Hola, soy yo, Vicky, otra vez. So, aquí estamos en nivel 4, página 97, los verb tables. Okay, so we're going to go through all the tenses we've done so far. Now, in the book, there are, let me see, how many verbs do I do in the book? I'm just maybe I will do all of them. Okay, anyway, let's start. Número uno, llevar, to wear, to carry, to take. Presente, llevo, llevas, llevar, llevamos, lleváis, llevan. Present perfect. I'm not going to repeat all the, well, I'll do it this once. Has, a, hemos, habéis, han is the first part, the have bit, and the past participle, llevado. Preterite, llevé, llevaste, llevó, llevamos, llevasteis, llevaron. Imperfect, llevaba, llevabas, llevaba, llevábamos, llevabais, llevaban. Past perfect, again, just in this one, I'll give you the had part of it. Había, habías, había, habíamos, habíais, había. And then the past participle is also llevado, same as present perfect. Just to let you know, I am actually reading these up because I did start doing this video. The phone rang and totally threw me off course, so I had to start again. If you're interested in bloopers, they will be uploaded shortly. I've got a series of videos that I have a special name for, but let's be polite and call it the bloopers section, but that's not the name I have for them. You'll find that out on the Patreon channel when I upload them to Patreon. Okay, so future tense, llevaré, llevarás, llevará, llevaremos, llevaréis, llevarán. Conditional, llevaría, llevarías, llevaría, llevaríamos, llevaríais, llevarían. The present subjunctive, llevé, lleves, llevé, llevemos, llevéis, lleven. The past subjunctive, llevará, llevarás, llevará, lleváramos, llevaráis, llevarán. Okay, aprender, to learn. Present tense, aprendo, aprendes, aprende, aprendemos, aprendéis, aprendem. Present perfect, the participle is aprendido. Preterite, aprendí, aprendiste, aprendió, aprendimos, aprendisteis, aprendieron. Imperfect, aprendía, aprendíamos, aprendía, aprendíamos, aprendíais, aprendían. Past perfect, again, the participle is aprendido. Futuro, aprenderé, aprenderás, aprenderá. Aprenderemos, aprenderé. No, eso no es correcto. So, aprenderemos, aprenderéis, aprenderán. Condicional, aprendería, aprenderías, aprendería, aprenderíamos, aprenderíais, aprenderían. Present subjunctive, aprenda. Ya, no es correcto en el libro, Aprenda, aprendas, aprenda, aprendamos, aprendáis, aprendan. And the past subjunctive, aprendiera, aprendieras, aprendiera, aprendiéramos, aprendierais, aprendieran. Okay, next one. So that was, we've had a regular AR verb, a regular ER verb in all the tenses. And this next verb, número 3, escribir, is a regular IR verb. So, escribo, escribes, escribe, escribimos, escribís, escriben, present tense. Now, this is an irregular past participle, escrito. Preterite, escribí, escribiste, escribió, Escribimos, escribisteis, escribieron. Imperfect. Escribía, escribías, escribía. Escribíamos, escribíais, escribía. And again, the past perfect, the past participle is escrito. The future, which is not correct in the books, I'm afraid. I'm sorry, I've made a couple of mistakes in the books, especially in level 4, because I probably had it enough by then, but it's just a question of time. Sometimes people point out the mistakes to me, which is good because it means they're actually reading the books and the answers. And I always say, oh yeah, I'm going to correct them, but do you know what? It's just simply a matter of time. I don't have any, but when I will eventually do it, I promise. Probably when I'm retired. Okay, escribiré, escribirás, escribirá, escribiremos, escribiréis, escribirán. The conditional, escribiría, escribirías, escribiría, escribiríamos, escribiríais, escribirían. Present subjunctive, escriba, escribas, escriba, escribamos, escribáis, escriban. Past subjunctive, escribiera, escribieras, escribiera, escribiéramos, escribiríais, escribirían. Okay, then we come on to some verbs that are normally irregular, or most of the tenses are irregular. The numero cuatro is poder, the verb to can or be able. Past tense is could, of course. Present tense, it's a diphthong as well, just to make life easy. So, puedo, puedes, puede, podemos, podéis, puede. The past participle is regular, podido. Preterite, irregular. Pude, pudiste, pudo, pudimos, pudisteis, pudieron. Imperfect, regular. Podía, podías, podía, podíamos, podíais, podía. Past perfect, past participle the same. Future, irregular. Podré, podrás, podrá, podremos, podréis, podrán. Conditional, regular. Irregular, because if it's irregular in the future, it's also always irregular in the conditional. Podría, podrías, podría, podríamos, podríais, podrían. Present subjunctive. Remember, this is based on the present tense. So if it's a diphthong in the present, it's a diphthong in the present subjunctive. Puedo, puedas, pueda. Yeah, got one wrong there, sorry. Podamos, podáis, puedan. And the past subjunctive, pudiera, of course this is irregular because it's based on the preterite. Pudiera, pudieras, pudiera, pudieramos, pudierais, pudiera. Okay, querer, número 5, to want, to love. This another very irregular verb. Present tense, it's a diphthong. Quiero, quieres, quiere, queremos, queréis, quieren. Present perfect, it's regular. Querido. Preterite, irregular. Quise, quisiste, quiso, quisimos, quisisteis, quisieron. Imperfect, regular. Quería, querías, quería, queríamos, queríais, querían. Past perfect, querido. Future, irregular. Querré, querrás, querré, queremos, queréis, querrán. Conditional, also irregular. Quería, querías, quería, queríamos, queríais, querían. Present subjunctive. Quiera, quieras, quiera, queramos, queráis, quieran. Past subjunctive. Quisiera. I really like that word, I don't know why. Quisiera, quisieras, quisiera, quisiéramos, quisierais, quisiera. Vale, número 6, pedir, to request, to ask for, to order. So, present tense, pido, pides, pide, pedimos, pedis, piden, diphthong. Regular in the past participle, pedido. Preterite, pedi, pediste, pidio, pedimos, pedistes, pidieron. Imperfect, regular. Pedia, pedias, pedia, pediamos, pedias, pediais, pedian. Future, pedire, regular. Pedire, pediras, pedira. Pedire, I'm getting a bit tongue-tied now. Pediremos, pedires, pediran. Conditional is regular, so I'm not going to read that. Present subjunctive. Pida, pidas, pida, pidamos, pidais, pidan. Pidan. This is where I have to start following my own advice and slow down. I always tell people to slow down when they're speaking, otherwise you trip over your words, and now I'm not doing it, but anyway. Past subjunctive. Pidiera, pidieras, pidiera, pidieramos, pidierais, pidiera. Okay, numero 7, tener. Again, have you noticed that most of the irregular verbs are also really common verbs that you just can't do without, like tener? I mean, there's not much you can say without using the verb to have. So, present tense, tengo, go verb, and diphthong. Tengo, tienes, tiene, tenemos, tenéis, tienen. Present perfect is regular past participle, tenido. Preterite, irregular. Tuve, tuviste, tuvo, tuvimos, tuvistes, tuvieron. Imperfect, regular. Tenía, tenías, tenía, teníamos, teníais, tenía. Past perfect, the same. Future, irregular. Tendré, tendrás, tendrá. Tendremos, tendréis, tendrán. Which means it's also irregular in the conditional. Tendría, tendrías, tendría, tendríamos, tendríais, tendrías. Present subjunctive. Tenga, tengas, tenga, tengamos, tengáis, tengan. Past subjunctive. Tuviera, tuviera. I've put tuviera. I've mixed those up a little bit, I think. Okay, sorry. Tuviera, tuvieras, not tuviéramos if you've got the book in front of you. Tuviera, tuviéramos, tuvierais, tuvieron. Yes, don't forget to point out my mistakes. Okay, vale. Numero 8, ser, of course, the classic irregular verb. And again, a verb you cannot do without. Present tense, soy, eres, es, somos, sois, son. Past participle is regular, sido. Preterite, fui, fuiste, fue, fuimos, fuisteis, fueron. I like that conjugation. Imperfect, irregular, one of the only the 3 verbs that are irregular in the imperfect. Era, eras, era, éramos, erais, eran. Future, regular, seré, serás, será, seremos, seréis, serán. Conditional, then it's regular, so I'm not going to read that. Present subjunctive, sea, seas, irregular. Sea, seamos, seáis, sean. Past subjunctive, fuera, fueras, fuera, fuéramos, fuerais, fueran. ¿Vale? Y después tenemos estar, the other verb to be. It's not irregular in every tense, this one. So, present tense, slightly irregular. Estoy, estás, está, estamos, estáis, están. Past participle is regular, estado. Preterite, irregular. Estuve, estuviste, estuvo, estuvimos, estuvisteis, estuvieron. Imperfect is regular. It's one of the babas. Estaba, estabas, estaba. Estábamos, estabais, estaban. Future, regular. Estaré, estarás, estará. Estaremos, estaréis, estarán. Conditional is regular. Present subjunctive, regular, yeah. Esté, estés, esté, estemos, estéis, estén. And the past subjunctive is irregular because it's irregular in the preterite. Estuviera, so it's not actually irregular as far as subjunctive is concerned. It's only irregular because of its base in the preterite. Estuviera, estuvieras, estuviera. Estuviéramos, estuvierais, estuviera. Okay, número 10, ponerse, to put on or to get. So I've made this a reflexive one so we can practice a reflexive verb. Present tense, me pongo, it's a go-go verb. Te pones, se pone, nos ponemos, os ponéis, se ponen. The past participle is irregular, it's puesto, not ponido. Did you get that right? Preterite, me puse, te pusiste, se puso, nos pusimos, os pusisteis, se pusieron. The imperfect is regular, me ponía, te ponía, se ponía, nos poníamos, os poníais, se ponían. Past perfect, of course, it's the puesto again. Future, me pondré, irregular. Me pondré, te pondrás, se pondrá, nos pondremos, os pondréis, se pondrán. Conditional, also irregular. Me pondría, te pondrías, se pondría, nos pondríamos, os pondríais, se pondrían. So, present subjunctive, me ponga. Te pongas, se ponga, nos pongamos, os pongáis, se pongan. And the past subjunctive, me pusiera, te pusiera, se pusiera, nos pusiéramos, os pusierais, se pusieran. And now, by the way, if you're listening to this and you don't have the book and you're thinking, oh my God, I don't know all those tenses, then obviously you need to go back through the level 4, well, all the levels really. These are all the tenses we've done throughout my course. Oh, and just a bit of information, there is a level 5 book coming out soon. Let me know if you want to pre-order it. It will be probably not much new grammar in it. It'll be a practice of all these things that we've done, conversations, translations. Because sometimes people get to the end of the level 4 and then they think, well, where do I go now? You know, to keep, because you've always got to keep practicing. I mean, obviously, go back and repeat the exercises. I always recommend that until you feel comfortable with them all. But yeah, so the level 5, it's quite exciting really, but that's what it will consist of, basically practice of all these tenses. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I talk about tenses, you need to go back to level 1. Okay, número 11, acostarse, to lie down or to go to bed. Again, reflexive, these are dealt with in level 2. Me acuesto, te acuestas, se acuesta, it's also a diphthong. Nos acostamos, they're dealt with in level 1. Os acostáis, se acuestan. Present perfect, acostado is the past participle, it's regular. Preterite, me acosté, te acostaste, se acostó. Nos acostamos, os acostáis, se acostaron. So it's actually regular in the preterite, it's regular in the imperfect. Me acostaba, te acostabas, se acostaban, nos acostábamos, os acostabais, se acostaban. Future is regular, conditional is regular. Present subjunctive I'll read out because it's obviously it's built on the fact that it was a diphthong, so it's me acuesté, te acuestes. se acuesten, nos acostemos, os acostéis, se acuesten. And past subjunctive is regular, so I'm not going to read it out, or shall I? No. Okay, and the last one, numero 12, hacer. Obviously, we can't go through every single verb unless I wrote a verb book, but, you know, verbs, oh, that's a good idea, actually, because that's all, yeah, it could be a need-to-know grammar verb book, because, you know, sometimes you can buy verb books and it's a bit, maybe a little bit too complicated. I mean, at the end of the day, certainly most of my students, they're not doing a degree in Spanish necessarily. They just live in Spain, or they come on holiday off into Spain, or they've got a holiday home in Spain, and you know, they want to learn Spanish, or they're even in America, or they're going to South America. It's not necessarily to do an exam. So I'm a great believer in need to know. Why try and learn a lot of complicated things that you don't really need, because you're not doing an exam. So you need to communicate. For communication, there's a certain amount that you need, but you don't need everything. Okay, hacer, to do or make. Present tense is a go-go verb. Hago, haces, hace, hacemos, hacéis, hacen. The past participle is irregular, hecho. Preterite, irregular. Hice, hiciste, hizo. Hicimos, hicisteis, hicieron. Imperfect, regular. Hacía, hacías, hacía, hacíamos, hacíais, hacían. Past perfect, again, so it's hecho. Future, irregular. Haré, harás. Hará, haremos. Remember, we never pronounce the H. Haréis, harán. Conditional, then, it's also irregular because it's irregular in the future. Haría, harías, haría. Haríamos, haríais, harían. And the present subjunctive, haga, hagas, haga, hagamos, hagáis, hagan. And the past subjunctive, hiciera, hicieras, hiciera, hiciéramos, hicierais, hicieran. Oof, thank goodness that's over. I expect you're thinking exactly the same thing. Yeah, I think I need a coffee after that. But how did you do? So, if you have the books, like my recommendation, obviously I've just read those out, but my recommendation is not to write in the book. Every now and again, go back to the tables and see if you can still remember the forms, and do as much as you can without looking first before you do look. But sometimes doing one helps you with the next one. So you might not know, you might think, oh, I don't know the verb llevar, but then when you go on to do another verb, you think, oh, I know that one, and that's an AR verb, and you make connections, etc. Okay, vale. So, please give me a thumbs up if you found the video useful. Vale, and como siempre, te veo muy pronto en el próximo video y hasta entonces que tu Dios vaya contigo. Gracias.